Hey folks, welcome. My name is Jeff Cockrell. I'm a Dale Carnegie Master Trainer, Certified High Performance Coach, founder of Coaching Mastery Community, founder of Veteran Academy, and welcome to the world famous Dale Carnegie course. If you've asked around about this and people have told you things like, oh, it'll change your life or it'll really push you outside your comfort zone. Now, truthfully, neither one of those are a selling feature to me, and I'm a trainer. I mean, seriously, when was the last time when someone said, hey, look, I've got a course that's going to make you uncomfortable, and you think, well, that's the one for me. Or, hey, this is going to change your life. I don't know. I kind of like my life. I think it's okay. Maybe you made the investment in yourself. A small percentage of people, maybe less than 5%, do. But if that's not the case, you're here because somebody decided that investing in your talent and potential, helping you develop that, is a wise business move. And personally, I agree. Which means you're not here because you need to be fixed. You're here because the additional tools that you'll be introduced to, the strategies that you'll learn over the next few weeks, will help you get to the next level for you, whatever that is. And the reason for this video is to give you a little bit of context about this course that you're getting ready to start. Here's what Dale Carnegie tells future trainers that they should know about the course that bears his name. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and read this. I want to make sure that I get this right. It's called How and Why I Started This Course by Dale Carnegie. And he says, if you're going to teach adults this course, you ought to have a clear conception of its purpose, of what its purposes are, how it started, how it has changed, expanded, and developed over the years, how it works, and precisely what it does for individuals. In order to explain that, I must talk a lot about myself. And for about the next page and a half, Dale Carnegie talks about that he grew up dirt poor on a farm in Missouri. He went to the Missouri State Teachers College for 4 years, which is now University of Central Missouri. And then he got a job selling correspondence courses. He says that he sold one course in his time, and that was to a telephone lineman who was actually up a pole and couldn't get away. And then he got a job selling for Armor Meats. They gave him the lowest performing territory in the country, in South Dakota. He raised it to the top performing territory in the nation. They offered to make him the youngest sales manager in the history of Armor Meats. But he thought, nope, I want to be an actor. So he went to New York, enrolled in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and he says, we'll pass over that year in the silence that it deserves. Well, then he had to get a job. So he got a job selling trucks for Packard Motors, and he hated it. He said, I didn't know how trucks work. I didn't want to know how trucks worked. I went home every day to a cockroach-infested room that he had rented, furnished room. He said, I ate vile food, and I thought, this can't be all there is for me. And in college, he'd want to be the next great American author, to live to write and write to live. And he thought, if I want to do that, I got to do something at night. And he said, wow, I studied to be a teacher. Why not do that? So let me pick up now when he talks about it. What subject should I teach adults at night? As I look back and evaluated my own college training, I saw that the training experience I had in public speaking had been of more practical value to me in business and in life than everything else I studied in college all put together. Why? Because it had wiped out my fear and timidity and self-consciousness and given me the courage and assurance to deal with people. It also made me realize that leadership usually gravitates to the person who can get up and say what they think. I applied for a position teaching public speaking at the night extension courses both at Columbia University and at New York University, but these institutions decided they could struggle along somehow without my help. I was disappointed then, but I now thank God that they turned me down, because I was forced through financial necessity to start teaching public speaking at the YMCA, 5 West 125th Street, New York. I started out that first night, October 22nd, 1912, to give a lecture on public speaking. But I soon ran out of something to say. So in desperation, I called upon everybody to stand and talk about themselves, their troubles, and why they joined the course. To my delight, I discovered they were eager to do it, and soon discovered that they were gaining confidence with a rapidity which astonished me. I had to show concrete results and show them quickly. What a challenge that was. These adults didn't come to my classes because they wanted college credits or social prestige. They came for one reason only. They wanted to solve their problems. They wanted to be able to stand up on their feet and say a few words at a business meeting without fainting from fright. Salespeople wanted to be able to call on a tough customer without walking around the block 3 times to get up the courage. They wanted to develop poise and self-confidence. They wanted to get ahead in business. They wanted more money for their families. And since they were paying their tuition on an installment basis, and they stopped paying if they didn't get results, and since I was being paid not a salary, but a percentage of the profits, I had to be practical if I wanted to eat. It was exciting work. I loved it. I was astounded at how quickly these business people developed self-confidence and how quickly many of them secured promotions and increased pay. The classes were succeeding far beyond my most optimistic hopes. Within 3 seasons, the YMCA, which had refused to pay me $5 a night in salary, was paying me $25 a night on a percentage basis. I realized that as sorely as these adults needed training in effective speaking, they needed still more training in the fine art of getting along with people in everyday business and social contacts. I also gradually realized that I was sorely in need of such training myself. To my astonishment, I found that no practical text on this subject had ever been written. So I decided to write one myself, solely for the use in my own adult education classes. I went to the public library and read magazine articles and books that seemed likely to offer suggestions. I hired an assistant who spent more than a year reading hundreds of biographies, all the way from Franklin D. Roosevelt to Benjamin Franklin to Socrates. I was determined to spare no expense to discover every practical idea that anyone had ever used throughout the ages to win friends and influence people. From all this material, I prepared a lecture on human relations. I urged the adults in my classes to try out these principles in their business and social contacts, and then come to class and tell us what they said. What did the other person say? What happened? These men and women, eager for self-improvement, were fascinated with the idea of working in a new kind of laboratory, the first and only laboratory of its kind in the world. The stories they told of their experiences were often amusing, absorbing, and illuminating. From these experiences, we developed a set of rules on human relations. Later, I wrote a little booklet for use in our own classes. Finally, after years of research, I wrote a book entitled How to Win Friends and Influence People. I wrote that for the sole purpose of giving it away to the members of my classes. It wasn't written to sell at all. My wildest expectations were that it might possibly sell 30,000 copies. It sold that many in 3 weeks. I was probably the most astonished author on this earth. Now, why have I told you all this? Because I am eager to show you that this isn't merely a course in public speaking. Far from it. We don't even attempt to make orators. But we do attempt to help adults solve 2 of the biggest problems facing mankind. First, the problem of conquering fear and developing confidence. Second, the problem of better human relations. The problem of dealing graciously and effectively with people. I beg of trainers not to think of this as a public speaking course. Think of it as a course in destroying fear and building self-confidence. Think of it as a course in human relations. Think of it as a new way of life, for it is often just that. When people banish fear and develop confidence, their ceilings will become higher and their visibility unlimited. Yes, the abounding self-confidence that men and women develop in this training removes mountains of fear and self-doubt. That's what Dale Carnegie tells trainers. People that are interested in teaching a Dale Carnegie course, he says, these are the things you need to know. And as I read this, I realized that you're coming into a place with people like you who are focused on getting better, who have unrealized talent and potential. And my job is not to change who you are, is to help you become more like the person you can be. And if you want to know, so in this next video, where in the next video, I'll talk a little bit more about what's going to happen in the course and some of the things to expect. And you'll find this all in the introduction section of the manual, which you'll receive at session 1. So see you in the next video.